Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get happy, get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Friday at primetime, 3 p.m. drive time on my CNBC, NBC syndicated network, KCAA. That's AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and anywhere that there are podcasts these days, from Spotify to iHeartRadio to Spreaker. And KCAA is home to Dave Ramsey and the Asian Oprah. And this is a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no news, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And if you've missed any of my past 459 consecutive weeks on the air, then go to my YouTube channel for a free subscribe. You can get all the interviews with Fran Drescher talking about how to reduce your risk of cancer, Corey Feldman, Happy Life, the Happy Days gang, to Marianne, beloved Marianne from Gilligan's Island, Don Wells, who's just passed to the other side. But they're all there on YouTube just for you, because there's just so much out there right now that doesn't make you happy. And it's my Happy 88 mission, 8 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So today is no exception. In fact, we're very excited. I know I have a lot of Agape friends and family that are tuning in, and a special shout out to Big Brother Michael Bernard Beckwith, who was going to try to come on, but Fridays are a tough day for him. But I know that he's loving that I'm covering Black History Month, as well as the Season for Nonviolence that he has co-founded. So you want to check out his page, Michael Bernard Beckwith, and get involved with that. But last Sunday, we had this guest who got up and started to speak to recognize the Season for Nonviolence. And I started listening very closely, because my first thought was, oh my God, Amanda Gorman is at Agape, but different package, but same inspirational word. So I'm calling him my Amanda Gorman. Please welcome to my studio. His name is Pluto Brown. Welcome, Pluto. So happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here with you.
Absolutely. And instead of talking about who you are, I would like you just to launch into some of the most beautiful words. And I love playing with words. So you just spoke to my heart. You spoke to my mind. If you could just share with us your words that you put together, and then we're going to talk about how you come up with that. All right. So take a breath. Beautiful.
Leave no room for excuse or misinterpretation. Violence is the lowest form of human expression, and it should not be tolerated, nor should it be adored, imitated, recreated, or ignored. It's not something you turn a blind eye to, because that's not what your eyes are for. And that's not what your hands are for. Pushing boundaries, pulling triggers, taking lives, pumping fear and intimidation into our thoughts, into our minds, making us jump when things go bump in the dark of the night. The reason my niece can't play outside lies buried in the memories behind her grandmother's eyes. And that's my mother. I love her, so of course I'd want to punish anybody that hurt her. But an eye for an eye will make this world go blind. Looks like Mahatma Gandhi had it right. This rage, lack, and loss of control will put us in a hole and bring us to our demise, as it slowly burns us down from the inside, and not out of error, but out of terror, and much to violence's delight. It will forever be wrong and left. It will never be right. Violence needs to get left behind. It has worn out its welcome here. It has no home. Not in your coldest day, not through my hardest plight. In Christianity, they say, Satan, get thee behind, and this is just as much a profession. Dropping the chains of manipulation and aggression. Violence has only brought pain and destruction whenever it's been present, like a sickness you cannot cure with medicine. Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi left us with lives worth of lessons. They iconically walked the walk of handling abuse and oppression, showed us how to retaliate and still not strike back, get beat blue and black and still won't raise a hand, how to get back up when you fall, the definition of a man, holding your ground right where you stand against those that push and provoke you, because they will hit, they will shoot, they will burn as they try to kill you. And it is a sad truth that for some of you, they will see it through and succeed. Just as they did with these two gentlemen, Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, may they rest in peace. They led revolutions without violence, but with a dream. They were met with fire and hoses, and we were left with wounds and bruises that still bleed, and still we long to be free. It's not hard to see that dreams damn near only achieved by those less melanated than me. And that's not to say, or I don't mean that I don't appreciate the privileges given to me. The profiling by local PD, my presence's superpower of making those that don't understand me fear me when they're around me. The instant false positive of criminality, this beautiful position of being the backbone and the back end of this economy. But when I'm finally tired of them ripping and me running, and I choose to stand and fight and do something, I can thank God for Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi and the blueprint they've left for me. May they rest in peace.
Wow. Chills, chills, chills. Xie. That was beautiful. So, those are some pretty powerful words. The backbone and the back end of our economy. So I guess let's now go back to the beginning. I like to do that with my guests, and he tried to have a pre-interview with me, by the way, and we started talking. I'm like, no, stop. That's not the way I do my show. I love this part. That's why I do lives. I love a challenge, and I want to get to know him now. So I usually have my guests go back to the beginning. So when I, talk to Layla Ali and how she started boxing at the beginning with her dad. So you're younger. So no, I'm not calling you old, Layla. But what do you remember as some of the major milestones in your life thus far?
So for a big thing, I kind of lost a lot of memory when I was 6. I cracked my head open on my sister's birthday. That was an accident, but I don't have much from before then. There's stuff that looks familiar from like photographs or what have you, and I get this like nostalgia, but as far as like memories, not much from before that.
Okay. And
then going into middle school, that was when I had started writing, actually. So that was a big thing. That I had a teacher that, well, actually, she wasn't really my teacher, and then she pushed for me to become her student, and then she became my teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was dope. Miss Campbell.
What's her name?
Miss Campbell.
Miss Campbell. Is she watching?
I would hope so.
Okay. If she's not, we'll send her a link for sure.
Yeah. So that was when I had started writing, and a lot of my stuff was like very dark. It was really just, honestly, just the catharsis of it that I was, after. And not to get too dark, but there were times where there was, I remember having like blood all over whatever I had written. So it was it really was a release for me.
Mm-hmm. Can you share some of the darkness just so we get a sense? I mean, it had to be because your words are so powerful. I know there's another word I can use, but so just as an example.
So I had my bouts and still do. I guess it's never something that you're like cured of. It's always an ongoing battle with depression. And I, didn't know that was what it was as I was in middle school. But, in retrospect now, I can identify it as that. And there were times where I was hospitalized for some of my episodes. And in those dark times, like I remember very clearly, I had this room, and it was probably one of the best hospitalizations that I had. But there was a whiteboard there, and I had like dry erase markers, so I could go crazy and write just that's probably a bad choice of words, but I could write everything I wanted to on the whiteboard, and kind of transcribe it later and play with it. I do that a lot. There are times where like I'll go back to change syllables, wouldn't will become would not very quickly. So so I started writing as a catharsis and a form of therapy, I guess. And then the creative twist that comes with it is reassuring. It's like after I'm done with something, I look back and damn, yeah, you did the damn thing, kid. Like that was hot. Hot.
Feeling that feeling of being in the flow and receiving what it was, and this is really the lightness of being that comes from the beauty of the darkness.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, you just reminded me something I was thinking about recently was that you do at times, when you want to, you have to face the fire to turn away from the darkness, and that's not always easy.
No. I it used to bother me all the time when people would say, "You're so sensitive," and I'd be, and sensitivity and having that extreme like thin skin can actually, now the research shows if you're sensitive, it's 100% correlated to creativity. So a lot of musicians, a lot of visual artists, a lot of artists have depression, have ultra sensitivity, those feelings of black, dark, unworthy, I don't think, So,
no, that's exactly what it was. That, there were times I very clearly remember, and I think this was the cause of me breaking the mirror in my old apartment, was that, or the one I grew up in, was that I couldn't recognize what was looking back at me in the mirror as me. Like it just didn't match. Like it didn't make sense to me.
That's powerful right there. Yeah. Seeing your own reflection.
A feeling of disgust. So.
Yeah. And it's more common than we think. I was speaking this morning, and, the thing that defined me was my self-loathing and self-disgust. And that doesn't match, what I do to try to cover it up with the outside. So the human dis-ease of that is not uncommon. So if you've just tuned in, And you're wondering who I'm talking to this week. It is poet Pluto Brown. And I'm so grateful to have him here. He just gave the poem that I heard on Sunday that just blew my socks off, blew them off again. I don't even have socks on. So I am so grateful to have him. And I just saw the most beautiful comment, I have to say. It says, and you can guess who said this, Pluto. One cannot express in words how proud a parent can be watching their son rise from the depths like a phoenix. I'm going to cry. That's so beautiful. And you know, that's right. I don't know. I think you got a little bit of the writing gene from him. I think that's definitely beautiful. And Perry, just so you know, the last chapter of the book, my book, 8 Ways to Happiness, is called, in conclusion, Phoenix Rising. And my name in Chinese is Bei Nian Feng, and Feng is Phoenix.
It's all coming together.
It is all coming together. Exactly. So, okay. So that place, you found a way to shine a flashlight on your darkness through writing. And how did you end up at Spirit Awakening? So tell me that part of the story.
So Spirit Awakening, Mama Akuyoe really, literally, had walked into one of the darkest places of my time when I was away as a teenager, and so she came into the juvenile hall in Silmar, and by way of a volunteer that worked with Spirit Awakening and was also a teacher at the unit that I was in, because of my mental health history, I was on a certain level of supervision. But because of that level of supervision, there were certain things that like going to school off the unit wasn't a thing. And so they had arranged for Mama Akuyoe to come over and talk with me. And I remember she had ran out of business cards. Obviously, she's very popular. And so
she's listening right now. She's on her walk. She called me. Yeah.
And so she had she wrote her information down on the back of another business card, and I taped it into the back of my notebook. And I kept that notebook with me from then through a handful of other facilities in my time away. And then I had also, there was a lady that had come into a facility afterwards, several months down the line, and she had also worked with Spirit Awakening too. So that was a good refresher, as yes, definitely stay in touch with these folks. They are the folks to be in talks with, and they'll pretty much give you a good foundation and support to start with, and put you in point you in the right direction upon release. And so I had started to talk with her after I'd gotten out, and one of the first voices of the unheard that I went to was at the Shrine Auditorium over in USC. And I was just so excited to be there. I think I remember passing out, or like helping sell the Spirit Awakening t-shirts and hoodies. And yeah, I was just happy to be there. So we've been rocking together since then, and we've done the mentoring group is one of the ongoing things that we work together on. And so I started off as one of the students in the group, and now I've grown to kind of become one of the peer mentors in the group. And
so give me the commercial for Spirit Awakening. Who should support it? Who should be part of it? Who should go to it? What is the mission for Spirit Awakening? I mean, you're the living example.
Pretty much, yeah. At Spirit, we're trying to work ourselves out of a job, and save, the system impacted youth, whether that's the foster youth or folks that were formerly incarcerated as teenagers or kids, basically get back on track, and then help them to help folks get back on track as well. So it's each one teach one. And so we're hoping for that wildfire kind of effect.
Beautiful. So I'm going to use your experience at Juvie, and I've heard this statistic, and I just want to validate or, get your take on it, that most of the people incarcerated always are hurt people hurting people. React to that for me. So the level of abuse, the level of self discomfort, the level of having had abuse in their life and now abusing someone else, is that a pattern correct? I mean, is that true from your experience there?
A lot of the time that is the case. That is what I, seeing you would hear the stories kind of like sitting in the day room of, how somebody's parent used to do this. And then a day later, you kind of, hear a similar story of that person doing virtually the same thing. And then you kind of see that unfold, and so trying to break, and, this is something I've thought about a few times before, is that it's not ever going to be one simple answer to, doing away with this problem. When you have to come at it from different angles, like there's the home life that you have to worry about, there's securing or what have you, or getting that together. And then there's the, the work life, and then ensuring that's together. And then there's the intersection of those. Yeah. And so, it's, it gets to be a long list, but I think moving in a direction is moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. My big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, who says hello. He was going to try to pop in and surprise you, but his schedule, I knew Fridays was going to be tough. But he said something on Sunday that really struck me. It's something similar to, you cannot change things unless you become aware of them, right? Like you have to be aware that it struck you too, right? Yeah, but about the society, like we can't change what's happening to our Black brothers and sisters until we become honest about what has happened to our Black brothers and sisters. So this continued denial of white privilege, continued denial that the prison system, the incarceration system is not working, and that's a billion-dollar industry not helping, right? And all the things you talked about in the backbone, the back end of the economy, your privilege. Say those lines again about your privilege, that you walk in a room. I love that part. Say that.
My presence is superpower of making those that are around me fear me when they don't understand me.
And then the next one?
The instant false positive of criminality.
That's it. So, if you haven't watched 13th, I'm telling my listeners now, watch 13th. It's a tremendously powerful documentary that made the dots connect in my mind why there's so many disproportionate number of Black and brown people in the system. So, and I love your mama, Akuyoe. She's my satellite sister, because we're out there doing, we're connected by frequencies doing our thing. But she came on and we talked about it. It's not black or white, or is it? Right? In after what happened to George Floyd, the horrific thing that happened to George Floyd. So this is perfect timing, because Jen Potts has just checked in, and she says, I'm passionate about unity, but what can I do now? So, and and her heritage is Caucasian. And so and this is one of the best things. It's, it's not for just Black Lives Matter to make Black Lives Matter. It's all of ours. And I'm trying, I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese. And, I have to, as a Chinese woman, also take this on. So what can we do? What can people do, like Jenna's asking, who want unity but not sure what to do? So your answer to that. I have an answer, but I want your answer.
So I think that definitely showing, so it can't be, of course, I'm not assuming that, she's not genuine with her, interest in trying to support, but for starters, most folks, it can't just be something that you're doing for, social media. I think there were a lot of folks that, I guess, kind of sort of understandably so, getting out of the house with Black Lives Matter posters in their hands and running to a protest, snapping a picture, and then, running home or whatever. Because of the quarantine or what have you, they were cooped up in the house. And, of course, it was something that was trending. But for starters, definitely being genuine. There's standing in solidarity, and then there's almost this thing of selective solidarity. I'll march with you and, throw my fist in the air or what have you, but I won't take that ass kicking with you, I'm not on the front lines, and willing to essentially die for this reason, I guess in thinking about all of that, there was a bit of that did spill into what I had written, honoring the season of nonviolence and the works of Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi. It is a sad truth that to get the mission complete, and accomplish this goal, it won't be easy,
It's not a light switch. It's not a light switch. You can't just change it. It's a systemic issue. But I will tell you a couple things practically, and I'm not accusing anyone of doing these, but I know I do. So and they've done studies on this, when a Black man walks into the elevator, if the people in the elevator will take a step back. When a white gentleman walks in the elevator, there's no movement. So that's one thing we can change, right? That gift that you have, right? The sarcastic gift that you talked about in your poem. Holding your purse closer when you pass by a Black man. That's not, people can notice that, right? Reaching over and locking, you do, exactly, right? Right, reaching over and locking your door when a Black man walks by, but you wouldn't do that if a white man walked by.
It's the car key thing now. It's the 4 or 5 times. Like, you locked it the first time. I heard you lock it. They heard you lock it. Your car is locked.
Yeah. So there are those are my practical examples. So
also I was thinking about those, and kind of the steps that we can take too. And it's a forgiveness thing, and being able to let stuff go, I thought this topic might come up actually. And I can immediately go back to an instance. I was listening to a song in my earphones as I was on my ride home, and I'm doing circles kind of in the crosswalk on my bike because I don't want to stop. But there's a cop car that pulls up, and coincidentally they were right on time. I'm singing the words to the song, And in the song, there's a part and they say
Uh-oh.
point, you know? And so it just so happened to be right on time where this squad car comes up and I'm, you know, singing along to the song. I can only imagine what they're thinking that, you know, I might have been talking about or what have you. And there are times where I'll have to, you know, dial myself back in, like, you know, that might not have been me, you know. In the instance of there's a friend of mine who his car locks and unlocks and sounds the same. And so there are some folks that are very forgetful, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, like, oh yeah, maybe they thought they hit the unlock button, so that's why they locked it again. I could see that if you're, you know, hands in your pocket and then you just hit the wrong button, you don't know which one you hit, and then you hit it a few more times, and then you say, screw it, pull the keys out of your pocket to make sure you press the lock button. And so, yeah, just being that.
Giving people the benefit of the doubt, not jumping to the assumption that automatically when you're locking the car that you're doing it because you're prejudiced against me. Yeah. Fabulous point. You know, making the assumptions, or I call it going to MSU University, making shit up. Shiitake, sorry. We're under, I forgot to tell you, we're under the FCAA rules with this show. So we're going to have to keep it just a little more. Yeah, you did good. You're doing good, but I forgot to warn you. So Joe is going to be like, on that button. But no, I love that point because you recognize too that you as a Black man can you know, run with it when maybe some people really are not running against you. Yes. Yeah. Good point. Very good point. And on that point, we're going to take a quick break just to thank the sponsors who make this show possible. Spiritawakening.org is definitely one. If you would want, and please do support this very, very important organization that is doing just amazing things, helping the youth that are incarcerated and temporarily forgetting who they really are, then go to spiritawakening.org. And we'll be right back with a couple other things that you can get involved in. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Dr. Marissa here, ready to drive a car that was designed with you in mind? Using patented technology, Mazda is focused on creating a human-centric vehicle, and Capistrano Mazda is ready to put you in the driver's seat. Family-owned and operated, Capistrano Mazda gives you a mileage guarantee. When you buy your new Mazda, you become part of their family. So visit capomazda.com today like I did, and now I can't stop smiling with my fabulous new Mazda MX-5 convertible Miata. And we're back. My name is Dr. Marissa. The show that you're listening to is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy, get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time here on the West Coast on my syndicated CNBC, NBC News radio channel, KCAA, a station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, home to Dave Ramsey and the Asian Oprah, and sending you always more hope and happiness. And today we are delighted to have the poet laureate for my station. My version of Amanda Gorman. It is Pluto Brown. He is the poet now for my show, and we're welcoming him back to the studio. Thank you for sharing that poem. Pick out one of your favorite sections that when you finished with it, you were like, Oh, wow. Because I love the fact that you mentioned, the feeling that comes with the accomplishment of writing or creating. And we all have that gift. We may not be able to do your gift, but we all have a gift. But I'm trying to convince people that even though this is the pandemic and a flexed up time, and you may have lost your job and you may have lost a career, you still are the same person that can create. So give me that section.
So before I get to that, because I know I'll forget if I don't say this.
Okay.
We were actually talking about this in the mentoring group that we were having, and I was thinking that, yes, this blank page is for me. I can use writing, but not everybody can use writing. But what this is, boiled down to its simplest form, is a safe space. I feel safe putting whatever I want to on that paper. There are folks that need a canvas, they need to paint. There are folks that need a bulk of clay, they need to sculpt. There are folks that need a dance floor. Some folks need an open road. There are times where I need that, to just jump on my bike and just pedal it out. And so, there's that.
That's beautiful. So there's different pathways to express, and there's people who teach as their creative expression, or people who do customer service as their creative expression. So absolutely. Go ahead.
So there's a few parts. So there was a few different drafts that I did as I was kind of putting it together. Well, okay. All right. Yeah, it wasn't one straight shot, no. But as I was rereading it a time or two, the part about the pain that's behind my mother's eyes, and that being the reason why my niece can't play outside, I felt like sharing that because there was a bit of me that was like, should I put that in there? Maybe I shouldn't. It's kind of not, relevant specifically to Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi, and so I was like kind of tossed up with it, but it is relevant to the violence that is out there. And so my mother's lived experiences are very much so the reason that she raised me, some of the restrictions she had, and some of the things that I can see her doing with my nieces and nephews. And there are things that I have to tell myself that that's why she reacts that way to certain things, her lived experiences. And so I was really, really stoked that I could drop that little bit in there. And
I thought it was perfect. I thought it spoke perfectly, especially now. I mean, people, it's, when George Floyd happened, one of the first reactions I had was, oh, I get it now. For the first time, I get the whole profiling, because, there might have been, honestly, sometimes when I thought people were overreacting or being overly sensitive to all of that. And it's that, you're not making this shiitake up. This is really happening, right? So that awareness was critical, I think, for our healing. But go ahead. So when you said that about your niece, and now with what happened at Capitol Hill.
Right. So, hey, we're still all, I guess, not really trying to make sense of it. We know where it came from, but
it's real. It's real.
It makes you like, you question it, but after, it happened, so you can't question it, but it's just like
unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly the word.
It's not often I'm without words, but I have to tell you that those first scenes, I was just shocked. And then now to have it even worse by people equating Black Lives Matter with what happened on Capitol Hill is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go off on a rant, but that's why, my discipline is to not be angry and fight against and hate, but to try to love my way into corrective action. So, and you being here is definitely one of them. So give me another line. You said there were two.
Mm-hmm. So that one I was really stoked about. The other one was actually being able to tie in that line by Mahatma Gandhi, an eye for an eye.
So say that part.
It was the reason my niece can't play outside lies buried in the memories behind her grandmother's eyes. And that's my mother. I love her. So, of course, I'd want to punish anybody that hurt her. But an eye for an eye will make this world go blind. Looks like Mahatma Gandhi had it right. So that was like, one hell of a shout out that I could, give to him. So, yes.
Drop the mic. That was my, I'm getting chills again. It's, and Essie here is saying it's beautiful. And Doug Starks, thank you for the compliment. And it's just, I'm so appreciative. I'm going to give you right now something I don't give to all of my guests, but Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award goes to you. We're just going to make your dad just a little more proud.
Yeah.
Very.
I think I'm going to have a long talk with him after. He was actually a bit sad, and so I'm glad that he had his heart broken recently. Yeah, Fry's Electronics closed, and it really did a number on him. That was his love. He used to come over, and we would go to Fry's. It was like a Saturday love, actually. I sent him that song when he had gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, the love that you share is so palpable, and I thank you for sharing it with me and my listeners and watchers. So that's really wonderful. So what next? Like, what do you want? Let's do a little visioning here. What do you see besides a bigger platform, which I hope to be part of and get your name out there? It's just like everybody's like, who's Amanda Gorman? It's like, who's Pluto Brown? And folks, this guy has no social media. I've never met a 20-some-year-old guy with no social media. We're going to fix that. But truly, I almost went, okay, he's not coming on. There's something wrong with him.
I still don't have social media. I think where I'll meet in the halfway will be to buy another website builder. I do still own the domain that I used to have my writing up on. So I think I'll buy another website builder and get that back going. So
what is the name of that?
Just plutobrown.com.
Okay. So in the meantime, you can reach him obviously through spiritawakening.org, and you can get in touch with them. You can get in touch through me as well, and I can get a message to him. But he's available to do that poem, and you have other poems, is my guess?
I do.
Yes. Do you have a little short one you'd like to share with us before we go off the air?
They're not really short, but I could rip into one.
Okay, rip in, please.
It's been a while for this one, but
that's okay.
I like to laugh more than I like to cry, but I cry more than I smile. Saltwater rivers run wild as the dreams of a newborn child, but when this tide should rise for the last time, I will be immortalized not by religion, but by art. And crushing hearts is the perfect place to start. Shattering expectations without consideration or regard, because misery loves company on this boulevard, in this avenue, where my mouth moves only to reduce the truth from something of virtue to an obsolete tool without use. The trauma of a recluse and some sort of busted fuse have instilled in me a thirst and a grudge. So you can hate so long as you fear. and you may cry so long as you listen and adhere. The chaos is clear. I can see your tears wherever they fall, next door or next year. You can feel me there, but I need to bring you here and make you see that your destruction and my vengeance will overcome any distance and raise hell right under your feet. And there aren't enough angels in this world or the next to protect you from me. I will destroy you and break you down like a disease until your last bit of hope leaves. You will run from what you cannot see and gag on what you believe. This will be done in remembrance of me.
Wait for it. Wait. Wow.
Oh, yes.
That was awesome. That was awesome. It's funny, you have the same after visage as my friend Gerald Rivers, who channels Martin Luther King, and he does. Have you seen him? I need to hook you two up. Gerald Rivers. Yeah, he's done like 3 shows with me where he does the speeches and actually becomes like Dr. King. So, but just now you had that same, when you were finished, that I don't even know how to, it's
I had to take it back out. That was, I wrote that one like literally, and I was in tears when I wrote that one. It was in probably one of the last worst episodes that I had. And that was what came out. So I wasn't writing that for anybody. Those words weren't like aimed at anybody. That was like really just pure, trying to get this out of me. And I guess, for the most part, those words were aimed at me.
Beautiful. So Lorraine says, Pluto, you are an awesome man, and you're getting some love on the chat. I wish you just the most, I can't wait. I have front row seats now to watch this take off and you take off. And do you have a message for people who are feeling that darkness right now? Is there something you can say to them to provide a little bit of my cushion, my hope in the back there?
So of course, words and things and phrases have always meant a lot to me and, got me through things. One that always helped was pressure makes diamonds. Like literally, if you put that lump of coal down in there far enough, it will come out something beautiful. And it's reassuring to know, and you can't always see it when you're going through something, but if you can hold on, and know that it is going to be better for you on the back, when you go through it afterwards. That's always something that's helped me. So pressure makes diamonds, and it wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. And sometimes it's too much fun, but no doubt, you won't be put through it if you can't handle it. So
Right. Beautiful. Well, thank you. And the last question that I always ask my guests is, to who or what are you most grateful to or for?
I'd say I'm thankful for my family. It's my, having my dad, my mother, Mama Akuyoe, my support network, my brother is, he's a handful and a half sometimes, but man, I love that guy. And yeah, my sisters, they're always, pushing me in the right direction. So I think that, and that was definitely something that helped me. Sometimes it's not always a familial support network that people have when they, are going through something or when they're getting out of something. Like, for instance, some folks that come home that are released, they might not be released to family members. They might have to go to, a halfway house or a sober living home or something like that. That's an in-between step. But having a support network or a support system is a big thing, And so I guess that's another takeaway that I would like to leave people with. You
Yeah.
don't always have to have a therapist. A good friend that can listen.
What?
Work almost
What?
just as well.
What?
I can.
What?
You almost got me.
Yeah, and you got me back. That was good. That's the first time someone's got me back. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you so much for gracing my studio literally with some just amazing words and encouragement. And I just wish you the best. And I know that I get front row seats to you. So you have to do this. I'm going to cut this. Yeah, peace in, peace out.
Peace out.
World peace. World peace through inner peace.
Through inner peace.
Thank you so much. All right. Woo-hoo. All right. And we're up at the end of the show where I invite you to balance. Step up to my balance bar. I don't have my little dinghy today, but just reminding you of things that you can get involved with. These are activities. Some of them are free, like putting on your calendar that I'll be speaking and you can enjoy me at the IVAT conference in Hawaii. That's going to be here on Zoom. But I'm one of the opening speakers at the Institute for Violence, Abuse, and Trauma. And so that's going to be up on my website for you to join at the end of the month. As well, I just got asked to be a speaker for another Secret Knox. So if you are an entrepreneur, it's definitely something you want to attend. And then this.
And now, back to The Host, a show that picks your next big radio host. Here's the host of The Host, Dr. Marissa Pay.
So if you didn't know already, we're having a game show on KCAA, and it's called The Host instead of The Voice. And we're on round 2 of auditions, and we are just closing them out. So if you have any desire to see if you can be a radio announcer, if you have what it takes to have your own show on CNBC, NBC News Radio Channel, KCAA, go to www.nbcradionews.com. Register there. I have, I think, one more spot, and then the audition is next Wednesday at 4 p.m. So make sure you go and register there for that. The 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa starts March 1st. So if you're unhappy most of the time, most likely the people around you are also unhappy. And you can change you. So this is a little good life habit that I started July 2011 when I heard Edwene Gaines speaking on the Agape stage. So make sure you register for that. All of these things are at www.drmarissa.life. And Asian Oprah giveaway, as per usual on the show, you get an audiobook, you get an audiobook, and you get an audiobook for 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. If you go right now to drmarissa.life, the first 3 that register get my #1 bestseller that has exercises in there. And I promise if you do them, you'll never hate yourself the same way again. Forward by Big Brother Michael Bernard Beckwith, endorsed by Neil Donald Walsh on the back cover, and by Layla Ali and all of my friends who know that this is my baby. And it's something that, you know, it's not a psychologist telling you how to be happy. It's someone who has been through past pain, is come out like a phoenix, and wants you to be happy because that is your birthright. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live on another scintillating episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy, get balanced. Come back next week. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.